as I help you guys out with beautiful audiobooks, I only think it's fair that you help me out. Please subscribe to my baking channel. And if I don't get lots of subscribers, I might just be too sad to ever upload again. I'm just joking, but please subscribe. Thanks. To subscribe to my channel, you will have to get onto my Audiobooks Kids channel homepage, then go along to channels, and then the British Bakers will be right there. Please subscribe, please. Before this video starts, I'd just like to quickly say sorry for not uploading, but also people that have asked for a shout out because I've not made a video in so long, the comments have been lost. So I can only remember one person's shout out, but then if I don't say your shout out and you've asked for one, please do put in another comment. In the next video you'll be shouting out. And if anyone else wants a shout out, you're free to one too. Cool. Alright, let's get going. I am shouting out R&D stop motions. He makes really cool, like Lego stop motions. Yeah, it's actually really cool. Alright, let's get going. Tom Gates, Dog Zombies Rule. I am so excited because for the first time ever, I have a real life pet. How brilliant is that? Very. It's not actually my pet. I'm looking after it for a friend, Mark Clump. The other day at school, he asked me if I could help him out. We're moving house, so I have to stay at my granny's for a few days, but she doesn't have enough room for all my pets. Straight away I shouted, "Yes, I can help. I'll look after your pet. No problem at all." I was so keen that I didn't even ask him which pet he was talking about. Mark has a lot of pets. Some of them would be easier to look after than others. "Thanks, Tom. I'll come over to yours after school and bring everything with me, if that's okay." "Great," I told him. It was only as I walked back to class that I started to think. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy would Mum and Dad be about me looking after a pet? Not happy. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy would Delia be about me keeping a pet? Furious. This is because Delia is allergic to some pets. She's allergic to other things too. Like fun. It's true, my sister is a weirdo. I knew it wasn't going to be easy convincing Mum and Dad about the pet, but I had to try because I was really looking forward to it now. Here's my excited face about a pet. When I sat down at my desk, Marcus Meldrew looked me up and down. "Why are you smiling so much? Have you forgotten that we've got maths this afternoon?" I had. Stupidly, I only went and told him about Mark's pet. I'm looking after it for him while he's at his granny's. That's why I'm in a good mood. "You're looking after Mark's pet snake?" "No, not his snake. One of his other pets," I said confidently. I'd forgotten about his snake. "I bet it is a snake." "Do you want to know why?" "Not really," I sighed. He ignored me and carried on talking. "Mark's granny will not want a snake in her house because it might escape and try and eat her." At this point, Amy stopped reading her book and said, "For your information, Mark has a corn snake and corn snakes don't eat people." See? Amy knows. I'm not looking after his snake anyway. I told Marcus, hoping he'd stop interfering. He didn't. There's a first time for everything, Tom. Once that snake's in your house, he could wake up really hungry, slither towards you, then chomp, you're gone, or at least chewed. Marcus was pretending his arm was a snake now. Why did I tell him anything? I should have just kept it quiet. He carried on doing his silly snake impression until his arm got tired. Then he hissed at me instead. Hiss, which was so annoying. Amy looked up again. "Put a sock in it, Marcus. I'm trying to read." "Exactly." "Shh, will you?" I agreed. "I thought your sister was allergic to animals," Amy suddenly asked me. As well as being super smart, she also has a very good memory. "Yes, she is, but I have an excellent plan to get around that problem," I explained while trying to look thoughtful and clever at the same time. I bet you do, Amy said quietly as she carried on reading. I didn't have a plan, not yet anyway. It was during Mr. Fullerman's unbelievably long maths lesson that my plan came together. If Mum and Dad said no to me keeping a pet, then smuggling it into the house might work, or keeping it in the garden. I drew out a few different ideas for different pets, while expertly keeping my I'm doing maths face on the whole time, which was not easy to do. My expression worked right up until Marcus started looking over my shoulder and hissing at me again. Shh, I told him, trying not to bring attention to myself. What kind of maths is that? Marcus said, not leaving me alone at all. Straight away, Mr. Fullerman looked in our direction. You two are like a couple of magnets. Move away from each other, and whoever's making that hissing sound, please stop right now. I gave Marcus a look and whispered, That would be you then. Mr. Fullerman heard me. Did you need some help, Tom? Not really, sir. Excellent. That's music to my ears. I'll look forward to seeing all your maths completed then, Mr. Fullerman said as he carried on marking our work. Marcus moved away and left me in peace for a while, which gave me a chance to work everything out. Not the maths, my pet plan. Once I had all my ideas down on paper, I felt much better, so I picked up my worksheet and saw a lot of number 9s everywhere. As maths isn't my best subject, I had a slight panic until I remembered how to do my 9 times tables on my fingers, which is very useful at a time like this. It's almost as useful as sitting next to Amy Porter. With my worksheet nearly done, I had plenty of time to do more maths. Nope. Sums. Nope. Drawings. Yes. I added in some numbers so it was kind of like maths. For the rest of the day, all I could think about was having a pet, right up until the bell went. Even on the walk home, I found myself looking at other people's dogs and imagining they were mine. I was going to tell Mum and Dad about Mark's pet as soon as I got back, but instead, I found myself wandering around the house, doing other very important things like staring at a wall, picking up bits of fluff off my trousers, flicking the bits of fluff to see how far they would fly. Not that far. What if Mum and Dad said no about the pet? That would be really awkward, and I wouldn't be happy about it either. Mark said he'd come to see me straight after school, so I was running out of time to ask them. After a bit more fluff finding, eventually I stood right in front of them and blurted out, Mum and Dad, can I ask you a question? They both did a raised eyebrow look. Go on, Mum said suspiciously. Well, my friend Mark Clump has asked me to do him a really huge favour, and because I'm a nice person, I always try and do good things. I told him not to worry because of course I could take one of his pets just for a few days to help him out. I whispered the words pets really softly, hoping they might miss it. That's nice of you, Tom, Dad said. Phew, that was easy. I followed quickly by saying, Thank you, that's brilliant. Mark's on his way over right now and he'll be very happy. Hang on a second. Did you just say pet? Trust Mum to hear with her bat ears. Maybe. Before she could say no to me, I found another way to ask the question. Please, 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 please. I only stopped saying please when I ran out of breath, which gave Mum the chance to jump in and say, You know we can't have pets in the house, Tom. But Mark said his granny can't look after any more of his pets, and his mum was all stressed out. I did an impression of Mark's mum being stressed. It's just a wild guess if she really looks like that. I was only trying to be helpful, I added in a sad voice. I'm not surprised Mark's mum is stressed with all those pets in the house, Dad said. Exactly. Is everything okay with Mark and his family then? Mum wanted to know. At this point I could have said, They're fine, just moving house, that's all. But I didn't. I built the situation up by saying, I don't know what's really going on, but Mark asked me for my help and I'm his friend. Which was true, though I made it sound a lot more dramatic than it really was. I'm still not sure, Tom. What if Mum started to say when the doorbell rang? Hi, Tom. Mark was outside holding a bag and a small cage covered with a blanket. He came in and put them both down. "Thanks for doing this, Tom. You're a real lifesaver." "That's okay, Mark. I'm just trying to be helpful," I said, glancing to Mum and Dad to make a point. Changing their minds would be a lot harder to do now Mark was actually here, unless there was something dodgy lurking under the blanket, like a massive spider or a skunk. Fingers, toes, eyes, and everything else crossed. It was something cute and nice, like a dog. My granny's waiting for me outside, so I can't stay long, but she's very pleased that there's one less animal in her house, even for a short amount of time, Mark told us. "I bet she is," Dad said. "All I really wanted to know was, what was the pet?" Mark started to look in the bag and said, "Hang on, I just need to sort out his toys." "Toys?" Mark said. "Toys? A dog has toys." Yes, is it a dog?" "Oh, didn't I tell you what it was?" Mark asked me. "No," we all said together. "Sorry about that." Mark took the blanket off the cage, and inside there wasn't a dog. Or if it was a dog, it was a very teeny weeny one. He's asleep right now, but don't worry. When Marble wakes up, he'll get a lot more lively, I promise. "What is Marble?" I asked, trying not to sound too disappointed. "He's a hamster." Mark could tell by my expression that I wasn't sure about the hamster. "Hamsters are very good pets. He likes to store snacks inside his cheeks for later." "That's handy," I said. I suppose any pet is better than no pet at all, and Mum and Dad seemed okay about Marble, which was a good thing. Before Mark left, he gave me instructions on how to look after Marble and clean his cage. "Watch out when you change his bedding. He likes to try and go for a walk. You have to keep an eye on him," Mark warned me. "Do you mean he escapes?" "Sometimes, but he's not that fast, and usually he doesn't go very far." "How far?" Mum wanted to know. "You can always get him back with these special hamster treats." Mark held up a packet of hamster nibbles. "I won't let him out of my sight," I assured him. "I'll pick Marble up in a week, if that's okay." "Thanks again, Mr. and Mrs. Gates," Mark added as he left. "He's so polite. It's nice you can help him, Tom," Mum said once he'd gone, like it was her idea. Groan. "You'll have to keep Marble in your room, away from Delia," Dad told me, just as Delia arrived home. He quickly put the blanket over Marble's cage and moved it out of her way. "What's going on?" "It's not for long. Tom's friend is picking him up in a few days' time. You won't even know he's here." Mum tried to reassure Delia, which clearly was not working. "Pick what up?" Delia said, looking confused. "It's just a little hamster, nothing to worry about," Mum told her. "He's not that little," I said, because the cage looked quite big. "Why has Tom got a pet? You know I can't be near them," Delia said, waving her arms around and being all cross. "I'll have to go and stay at Avril's with that old animal fur flying everywhere. If you keep away from Tom's room, you'll be fine. He's not going to escape, is he, Tom?" Dad said, wanting to reassure Delia. "He might escape, you never know," I said, stirring things up a bit. "This is ridiculous." Delia stamped her foot. "Well, make sure he doesn't go free, won't we, Tom?" Mum said, doing the eyebrow thing again. "Yes, but it will help if you stay away from me and my room," I told Delia with a nice smile. "Stay away?" "This is brilliant. Delia can't bother me at all. It's official. I won't even mind cleaning out Marble's cage, because everything about having a pet is going to be fantastic fun. I can tell. I'm enjoying myself already, and he's only been here a few moments. Having a pet is going to be the best thing ever. Yeah." I take Marble up to my room to get him settled, even though he's asleep. I watch him doing nothing for a while. He's still asleep when Mum and Dad come in to say goodnight and check everything is okay. "Don't let Marble out of his cage," Dad said. "I won't. No comics or turning the lights back on either," Mum adds, tucking me into bed. "Night," I say, and I won't until they're downstairs, before turning on my book light and climbing out of bed, because I think Marble's awake. He is, at last, and he's very lively considering he's only just woken up. I take a closer look, and the first thing he does is jump into his wheel and start to run. Marble keeps running for a very long time. He makes the wheel spin really, really fast. He doesn't seem to get tired at all. Marble whizzes around and around. Whee! Then he leaps out, lands on one foot, has a drink of water and jumps back in. I had no idea that hamsters had so much energy. I sit and watch him for ages. Marble decides to go on his seesaw. He shuffles from one end to the other to make it go up and down, up and down. There's a loud noise every time it hits the bottom of the cage. Biff, biff, boff, biff, boff. Marble keeps going. Biff, boff, biff, boff, biff, boff, biff, boff, biff, boff. Then he jumps back into his wheel, which starts to squeak as he runs. The squeaking is getting on my nerves. I wonder if I stop watching, maybe we'll slow down or even go to sleep. I go back to bed and close my eyes, but Marble just keeps running all night long. Squeak, 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 squeak. It keeps me awake until the lights start to creep through my curtains as the sun comes up. Then finally the squeaking slows down and stops. I'm just beginning to drift off to sleep at last. Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. I wasn't expecting my cuckoo clock to do that. I thought it was broken. All that fiddling around and winding it up I'd done, trying to fix it, must have worked. I dragged the clock out from under the bed to make it stop. I'm so tired. I can't believe it's morning already. Marble is still asleep and hasn't moved at all despite all the noise. Lucky Marble, though it sounds like Delia's awake too. I can hear her grumbling and complaining from her bedroom. She doesn't sound happy at all. That stupid cuckoo clock, grr, I can't believe it's woken me up again. The only thing that would annoy Delia even more than my cuckoo clock going off would be me sneaking into the bathroom before her. She hates that. Despite being half asleep, I make an extra effort to creep down the corridor and keep up this fun family tradition. Besides, it's a good idea to be early for school, as Mr. Fullerman is on a mission to make sure we all get to class on time. He's put up a new chart code. It's not great to be late. Listen up, you lot, he told us. There's far too much dawdling in the corridors. You all need to get to your lessons on time. But it's so easy to get distracted on the way to class by things like Friends, Champ and other games. Following teachers for a dare. The new chart is supposed to encourage all of us not to be late. Mr. Fullerman divided the whole class into 4 groups, just for a change. I'm not with Marcus. Each group starts with 50 points, and if you're late, your group loses a point. The group with the most points at the end of each month gets a special treat, which sounds very promising. Though Mr. Fullerman hasn't told us what the treat actually is yet. He says it's a surprise. So that's another good reason to get to the bathroom first. I'm still sleepy, but knowing how much it will annoy Delia perks me up. I just have to remember to lock the bathroom door. Click, all done. When I look at myself in the bathroom mirror, I get a bit of a shock. Where are my eyes? They've disappeared somewhere into my face. I look like a potato. This could be a big problem at school. Kids will stare and point in the direction and say things like, "Is that a boy or a potato with legs?" Not being able to see out of my tiny tired eyes, I'd be bumping into things like walls, desks, Buster Jones, or worse, Mr. Fullerman. It's a walking potato. I never expected looking after a pet would be this tiring. Maybe if I put a flannel soaked in cold water on my face, it might wake me up. It's the kind of thing Mum would do. I don't want Delia to see my potato face either, because she will laugh. Because she will. 1, laugh. 2, guess why I'm tired. And 3, tell Mum and Dad about Marble. Then Mum and Dad will send Marble back to Mark's. Off you go. Which could be a disaster. So I give my face a good scrub and hope it works. No need to have a shower or do anything drastic like that. I'm just drying off when Delia starts knocking at the door. She's sneezing too. A tissue. And she says, "Your clock is so annoying, Tom. Don't take ages in there. Hurry up, will you?" The moment she tells me to hurry up, I slow down. Just for fun. Tom, I know you're not having a shower or washing. I might be having a shower or a bath. How do you know? Do not have a bath. I don't want to be late. I'm going to count to 10. At some point, I will have to leave the bathroom and Delia will probably try and do the annoying hair ruffle thing on me. Or worse. I'm trying to think of what I can do when she starts counting. I'm waiting. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm a bit stuck and still thinking when I suddenly spot a laundry basket on the floor. That's about the same size as Marble's cage. I could pretend that Marble's with me and then Delia would have to stay out of my way, or at least move. I cover the blanket with a towel and then I give her a warning. I'll come out if you go away, Delia. Delia starts rattling the door handle. I've got Marble with me, so you'd better give me some space. Don't say that I didn't warn you. You're not supposed to take that pet out of your room, Tom. His name is Marble, and I was giving him a tour of the house. He's not been here before, and he's a guest, and I wasn't expecting to bump into you. You'll be in trouble when Mum and Dad find out you're taking him for walks. Delia sounds cross, so it's only a matter of time before Mum and Dad will want to know what's going on. I decided to make my move, so I open the door a tiny bit and peek outside. Then I hold the basket in front of me and say, "Coming through, back away, Delia." It's like I've got a magic force field protecting me, which is fantastic. I wish I had this all the time. I'm about to get to safety of my room when Mum and Dad both appear to stop me. "Your face looks a bit red, Tom," Mum says and does a cheek squeeze on me, which doesn't really help. "You don't feel hot. You've been rough with a flannel again, haven't you?" "No," I say, wondering how she always knows exactly what I've been doing. "Why all the shouting, you two?" Dad wants to know. I'm just hoping they'll both ignore the towel on the basket and not ask me any awkward questions. "And what's under the towel, Tom?" Too late. Before I can think of something to say, Delia is already shouting, "It's the hamster, that's why I'm cross. Tom, you promised," Mum said sternly. I try and explain in a whisper so Delia can't hear me. "It's just a laundry basket. Marble's in his cage." Dad goes into my room and says, "Tom, where's Marble? He's not here." Which Delia gives a chance to say again. "Tom's got him. This isn't working out like I planned at all. I'm forced to abandon the basket and run into my room to show Dad Marble is still there. He's not in his cage. Did you close it properly? I can't see him anywhere." "Is that Marble's food on the floor?" Dad's looking for Marble under my bed. "No, they're my biscuit crumbs," I tell him. Mum walks in and starts moving chairs around and getting all worried as well. "I knew this would happen," she sighs. While they're both freaking out, I take another look at Marble's cage. "Dad, he's there. I told you he was." "Well, he wasn't a second ago. I can promise you that." Dad squints at Marble like he's checking it's really him. "That's a relief," Mum says. "Now it's time to get ready for school." She adds as Delia stomps past my room and tells me grumpily, "Keep that hamster away from me, Tom." "Shh, you'll wake Marble up," I say cheerily as she heads to the bathroom. Though looking at Marble right now, I'm not sure if anything could wake him. At least my eyes have opened up a bit more after all the excitement. And cold flannel getting ready for school is a lot quicker now I can see properly. I'm hoping that today at school will be easy peasy, with nothing too difficult that makes me feel even more tired than I am right now. Here's a list of things I need to avoid: running, spelling tests, tricky maths, Champ concentrating, Marcus, especially if he's being annoying. I could go on. While Dad was looking under my bed for Marble, I spotted a fully wrapped chocolate frog, which I'm definitely going to eat, obviously, but right now I'll save it for later. After breakfast and a bite of frog, I couldn't wait. I'm about to head over to Derek's when Mum tells me I shouldn't take my new raincoat with me. I say, "Okay," then sneak another nibble of frog without Mum seeing. Derek won't mind me being early for school either, as his class have to pick up litter if they're late. I also give him a piece of my frog, which he's happy about as well. Derek's my best friend after all. Thanks, Tom. Eat it slowly. We take our time walking to school so we can chat about dog zombies. I tell him about Marble, keeping me awake all night too. What's with the tiny eyes? Derek asks. All hamsters have tiny eyes. I meant your eyes, not the hamsters, Derek laughs. You should have seen them earlier, I say, and I show Derek what I mean. I wish I could stay home and catch up on my sleep. Like Marble's doing right now. Rooster chews stuff when I'm not there. We should write a song about Rooster, I suggest. We should, Derek says, but we can't think of any ideas, so I divide up the last 2 bits of frog, which hasn't lasted as long as I thought. Meanwhile, back at home. Yippee! Marble is going crazy. Being really early for school means we're the first kids here. Normally I'm in a big hurry and rushing around, so this feels odd. It's like I've come to school on a weekend by mistake. That's happened before. Where is everyone? The good news is we can sit on the best bench all by ourselves. No litter picking for me today, Derek says. Or late marks either, I tell Derek. Then he suggests we do something now that's really important. We finished the chocolate frog, sorry. No, not that. Okay, I say, trying to think what he's going to say. We need to plan world domination for dog zombies. Yes, along with Norman, we've decided that if we're ever going to be the best band in the world, we'll have to do something more than just play at Leafy Green Old Folks Home. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We should make a music video, Derek suggests, which is an excellent idea. We've made one before, a while ago. What do we do first? I asked Derek. We need new songs. I've got some ideas if you want to see them. I do. A new song to go with the video would be good. It would. Derek gets out a notebook which has lots of random stuff in it. Does that say I like goats? I ask, as that seems like an odd thing to write a song about. It's my wobbly handwriting. It says boats. Derek explains, which makes more sense. Sort of. I have a think and then try singing a few lines. I'm a goat. I live on a boat. And I wear a raincoat. Unlike me, as I've forgotten to bring mine. It's a hit, Derek laughs, and turns over a new page in his notebook to write it down. What else shall we add? He asks me. Let's come back to it later, Derek suggests. Getting words mixed up, like goat and boat, reminds me of something I'd like to do in assembly, I tell Derek. You know the song the one that goes like this? I'm gonna sing again. Let's all stand up and loudly sing. I know that song. Well, I changed the words to let's all stand up for doodling. That's brilliant, Derek laughs. We make a pact that we'll both sing those words. No one will notice. You'll see, I tell Derek confidently. We carry on trying to work on our songs, which isn't going that well. I've got an idea, I say after a while. The next person who walks into school will put them in our song. Okay, Derek says. We wait and wait and wait until Mrs. Worthington arrives. Neither of us can think of a word that rhymes with moustache, so we see who else turns up. Derek suddenly starts writing stuff down and crossing things out. Writing, crossing, writing, crossing, writing. I've had a song idea. Then he reads out, school in the morning, there's no one around, which is true and a good start. I try and think of the next line songwriting face. It's so early and you can't hear a teacher, pigeon, sound. Sitting on a bench with nothing to eat, no, prove. Genius, I'll write that down too, Derek says. This is like a proper song now. It's going to be brilliant, I say, and then we congratulate ourselves with a fist bump. Derek writes it all out nicely, and so far our song goes like this. School in the morning, there's no one around. It's so early, you can't hear a sound. Sitting on a bench with nothing to prove. Songs don't have to rhyme, but dog zombies ones usually do. This is where it gets tricky. What rhymes with prove, I wonder? How about hoove or boove, Derek adds, but I'm not sure they're even real words. We write down the alphabet to help us. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. But we're rudely interrupted by a group of younger kids who say, "Can you move to another bench, please?" "Hey, that's it, move rhymes with prove," Derek says and writes that down too. Yes, it does. We are songwriting geniuses. The kids are still waiting for us to go. "Could you both sit somewhere else?" she says again. "Why do we have to move?" I say, looking at the empty school grounds. "Okay, don't then. We'll just dance around you." "What dance?" "This one, for shake and wake." "You can join in if you want. We'll see," Derek says. We try and ignore the kids once they start dancing, which isn't easy. Everyone shake and wake. Put your arms up. Now dip down. Do the Charleston. Do the Charleston. Reach up, high. Wave your arms in the air like you just don't care. Jump up, jump up. They do the whole dance twice. "Come on, you two, join in," the girl says. Reluctantly, we wave our arms around just to stop them bugging us. Once they finish leaping around, Derek and I grab our bags and make a dash for another bench. "Phew, that was embarrassing," Derek says. "At least there wasn't too many kids around to see us looking like twits," I added. "Why were you two twits waving your arm around with those kids?" Marcus laughs. "They were dancing around us," I point out. Trust Marcus to see everything. I don't really want to talk about dancing, especially with Marcus, so I change the subject fast. "I've got Mark's pet now. Was it a snake, stick insect, beetles?" "He's got a pet beetle." Why am I surprised? "He's got loads." "What did you get then?" "I've got his hamster, Marble." Marcus starts laughing. "Mark told me he stays up all night playing in his wheel and makes loads of noise. I bet that's why he gave you his hamster." I find myself sticking up for Marble and saying, "No, he sleeps really well," which is true, just not at night. After a few days you'll be wishing you did have a snake after all. Marcus starts doing that stupid arm and hissing at me. "That's annoying," Derek says. So far my easy peasy day at school isn't quite working out like I expected. This morning we've got assembly, so I'm going to sit next to my mate Solid because we can have a catch up. He's very tall and good for hiding behind, which will be very useful if I get tired and need to close my eyes for a sneaky rest. Mr. Fullerman tells us that Mrs. Knapp has an important announcement to make today. Get ready for a musical treat. He's doing his best to make it sound exciting. I think I know what it is. Here's why. Here's my I'm thrilled face. With the whole school sitting and waiting to hear the big news, Mrs. Knapp plays a jolly tune on the piano. "Hello everyone. Today children from Class 2D will be showing you a new fun and healthy way to start the day. It's called Shake and Wake." I knew it. Every class will get the chance to create their own routine and then teach it all to us. Today it's 2D's turn, with the help of a few volunteers. As the kids from 2D stand up, I avoid eye contact and use Solid for cover. I don't want them to see me. I think I'm safe. Turns out I'm not. I pick you. Solid's not safe either. Derek's lucky. He's not in my class. I can see him waving at me, and Marcus too. Haha. Sigh. Here goes. Shake and wake. At least it doesn't last too long. As we sit down, Mr. King congratulates us. "Well done. Shake and wake will take place by the benches in the school grounds every week, so all of you can join in next time with music." And speaking of music, Mrs. Knapp begins to play the piano tune. I recognise the song. It's the Let's Stand Up for Doodling one. I give Derek a sign and whisper to Solid, "Listen to this." I start with a quiet, "Let's stand up for doodling," while everyone sings, "Let's stand up and loudly sing." Then I do it again. Let's stand up for doodling. A few more kids join in, then a few more, and a few more, until loads of children are all singing, let's stand up for doodling. It's the only thing you can hear. The whole school is singing, let's stand up for doodling. I think it's brilliant. Mrs. Knapp and Mr. Keene don't agree. Did you notice something unusual about that song, Mr. Keene? I did, Mrs. Knapp. Mr. Keene doesn't look very happy. If you were the person who started singing the wrong words to the song, don't do it again, you know who you are. I keep looking ahead and try not to react too much. How could they know it was me? I should be okay. No one says anything. Because they don't have to. I'm trying to explain to Mr. Fullerman how I accidentally sang the wrong words. I just got muddled up. Sorry, sir, it's hard to get them out of my head now. He makes me promise not to do it again. As if today what couldn't get any worse. He then asked me where my story homework is. Where my mystery story homework is. I have to stop myself from saying, it's a mystery, sir, because I haven't done it yet, and I'll get into more trouble. As I'm thinking about what I should say, Mr. Fullerman adds, come on, Tom, I've heard every excuse going so far. Dogs, washing machines, even aliens, what's next? Just as he says that, a huge bolt of lightning gives us all a big shock. It's so super loud, and good timing as it makes Mr. Fullerman forget about my homework, for now. Brad Galloway shouts out, it's a ghost, which makes the whole class go crazy. The hailstone starts hitting the windows and we all get out of our seats to have a look. Calm down, everyone, Mr. Fullerman tells us. You've all seen thunderstorms before. We have, but not like this. There's another big flash of lightning and all the lights go out of the classroom. This is spooky, Brad Galloway shouts, making things seem a lot worse. Sit down, please. The lights will be back on soon. Mr. Fullerman tries to reassure us. It's very gloomy and dark now. Norman starts pretending he can't see anything at all. Where's everyone gone? Then someone else makes some night owl noises. Woo! Woo! That's enough, Wildlife Class 5F. It's not that dark, Mr. Fullerman says, but he's trying not to laugh. Then Mr. Sprocket comes in from next door's classroom and tells us, sit tight, no need to worry, we've just had a power cut in the whole school and some of the streets around us too. Wow, this is the most exciting thing that's happened for a long time. Apart from when we had a fire drill and Marcus didn't have time to change out of his PE kit. That was funny. The good news for me is that with a slightly darker classroom, I get to close my eyes for a sneaky rest. But we're going to carry with our lesson until everything's fixed. Shame. But no one can see anything, Julia Morton says. She's got a point. I'm going to read one of the best mystery homework stories to you, so all you have to do is pay attention and listen, Mr. Fullerman says. Brilliant. Time for a rest then. Who Stole the Cake? By Florence Mitchell. Monsters really do exist. I know this because I've seen them, mostly at night sneaking around for something to eat. It's also true that monsters hide in dark cupboards and under children's beds. They stay very still until you're asleep and then crawl out to mess up your toys. Monsters are always hungry and steal as much food as they can. And monsters' favourite food is cake, and they always sniff it out if you try and hide it. If you want to see a monster, all you have to do is bake a cake, or maybe even lots of cakes. Leave them in your kitchen and the monster will be sure to find them. It will look somewhere dark until you're gone. Then it will come out and scoff as many cakes as it can before anyone finds it. With huge eyes, massive sharp teeth, fierce claws and hairy bodies, monsters can be scary. How do I know all this about monsters, you might be wondering? That's easy. I am a monster, and I stole your cake. Did you enjoy that, Class 5F? Gulp. Sort of. Florence's story was scarier than expected. The sound of the caretaker's keys jangling away outside in the corridor doesn't help. He's running around trying to fix things, which isn't working as we're still sitting in a gloomy classroom. Mr. Fullerman wants to read us another story. This one's called The Mystery of the Shadow, he says just as the door begins to slowly creak open. It's a ghost, Brad Galloway shouts. It's not. It's Mrs. Mumble, who's not that scary most of the time. Hello, Mr. Fullerman. I have some news for you. Due to the power cut, I'm afraid the school will have to close. I'm sorry to interrupt your lesson, but you'll have to go home early. No one looks unhappy, especially not me. Those who can't go home, don't worry, because Blue Coat School have not had a power cut, so you'll be able to go there to wait instead, which is very helpful for all of us. I'm not going to Blue Coat School, that's for sure. It's home time for me. Blue Coat School isn't far away from ours. We often have to play them at sport. Well, I don't, but if you're in a football or basketball or netball team, you do. They usually win, which can get a bit boring if you have to watch. They also have a very fancy official mascot and a special song they like to sing to keep their team going. Oakfield never used to have anything like that. Although I did make up a chant once when Norman was playing them at football. It had crying actions and everything. Oakfield School, you can do it. One more goal, let's get to it. Blue Coat School, your team is bad. When you lose, you'll be very sad. I thought it was really good. Some of the teachers didn't agree, including Mr. Keane. I stopped singing when Blue Coat School scored 10 goals against us and it didn't make any sense anymore. After that match, some of the school council kids suggested that Oakfield School should have their own mascot to wave around. Mr. Keane agreed and thought it was a good idea. So the school ran a competition to design a new mascot. Lots of kids entered, including me. And there was a big display of all the entries pinned up around the hall. Mine didn't win. 2 ideas got the most votes and tied for first place. The school council kids had a brainwave and decided that both designs should win. Which would have been okay if they hadn't cut drawings in half and stuck them together to make a new and slightly odd mascot. One of the parents offered to sew it together, and when it was finished, the school council kids wanted a big reveal. An assembly. They covered the winning mascot with a tablecloth, and when they took it away, the mascot is cold, wait for it. There was a huge gasp, followed by lots of laughing, because no one was expecting the mascot to look like that. It's called the Big Ugly Monster. The school council kids told everyone it's called Big Ugly Monster, but Mr. Keane noticed that the initials spelt out and suggested they rename it Okie instead. They didn't have much choice, but the funny thing is, ever since we've had Okie, we've been winning loads more sport matches. Even against Blue Coat School. Norman thinks waving it around put the other teams off because it looks so weird. I'm glad I won't have to go to Blue Coat School. It will be more fun seeing Marble, unless he's still asleep. The school office does a big check on who's allowed home and who's not. Mr. Fullerman has a list and is about to read it out. I begin getting my stuff together when I hear him say, Tom Gates, Blue Coat School. What? There must be a mistake. My dad's at home, I tell Mr. Fullerman quickly. Sorry, Tom, it says here you'll be picked up from Blue Coat School. Amy sees that I'm in a panic, and she asks me if I want to go with her to her house. I don't really have time to think too much. I just say, yes, please. That's great, thanks, Amy. Okay, Tom, I'll ask Mrs. Mumble to contact your mum or dad. Mr. Fullerman tells me, so that's something. I have to wait to find out if it's okay. I've only ever been to Amy's house once for her birthday party, when she invited the whole class. We played pin the tail on the donkey, only I kept missing and popped loads of balloons instead. Amy says she doesn't mind waiting for me. Unlike Marcus, who keeps saying, I'm allowed home, ha, ha. To fill up the time and take my mind off the possibility of being forced to go to Blue Coat School, I do a doodle. It's a bit scary looking because Florence's story is still in my head. Who stole the cake? Me. Good news, Marcus has stopped bugging me and gone home, at last. Then Mr. Fullerman tells me, Tom, it's fine for you to go to Amy's. Your mum called and said your dad will pick you up later. Brilliant. I don't know why Dad's not at home, but it doesn't matter now. I get my things together as Amy's waiting. Let's go, I say cheerily. When Florence and Indrani come and join us, we're ready as well, they say, which is a surprise. Great, we can walk to my house, Amy says. Together? I don't know Florence and Indrani will come in too. I won't be staying long. My dad's picking me up, I explain, as I follow them out. Caretaker Stan is making sure we all leave carefully. Mind how you go? It's a bit dark with no lights. I'm squinting in the gloomy corridor when Norman bumps into me, which isn't unusual. But it does give me the chance to tell him about doing a Dog Zombies video. He says, great, count me in. But I know I'll have to remind him again. He won't remember. Amy, Florence and Indrani are chatting a lot as we all walk back to her house. I'm listening to them talk about their homework and when they're going to do it. There's no mention of snacks or anything important like that, which is weird. When we get to Amy's house, straight away her mum says to me, the last time I saw you, Tom, was on holiday at the Pine Tree Riviera. Did you enjoy yourself? I start to remember some of the things that happened. Mostly, I say. Then I tell them about how Dad got me to climb through an open window of our villa. It was the wrong one, but we stayed there for nearly a whole week anyway. I explained. In someone else's villa? Amy's mum asked. Sort of. Everyone seemed quite surprised. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that bit. Then Florence wanted to know, who's looking forward to doing Shake and Wake this week? Indrani looks at me and says, Tom, you already know what to do. You can show us. I'm not keen on that idea. Florence waves her arms around. Does it go like this? I pretend I can't remember. Maybe I should have gone to Bluecoat School after all. I'm saved by Amy's mum, who appears with a plate of sandwiches. Who's hungry? She asks. I am. I shout enthusiastically. Then I calm down a bit and add, please. Amy's mum puts the plate on the table and tells us, help yourselves. So I do. But it's tuna. I hate tuna. So I kind of let my mouth go open and do a great big cough. My sandwich flies everywhere and all the girls go, ooh, Tom. It's really embarrassing. There are bits of slightly chewed up sandwich on the floor and table around me that I attempt to pick up. Sorry, it went down the wrong way, I try to explain. Amy's mum asks me if I'm okay or need a glass of water. No thanks, I'm just not that hungry anymore. It's not much of an excuse, but I hope I don't have to eat another tuna sandwich. You've got a bit of food in your hair, Amy tells Florence. So I say, sorry, again. Amy, Florence and Indrani carry on eating while I sit there watching and feeling awkward. Are you sure you don't want anything else, Tom? Amy's mum asks me. Nothing for me, thanks. I'm fine. I really don't want anything at all, honestly. I'm just not that hungry, so don't worry about me. I can't eat anything else at all. I couldn't eat another thing, really. That should do it. I've made such a big deal about not wanting anything else to eat that there's no going back when Amy's mum brings out a chocolate cake. I made a mistake. Cake. Are you sure you don't want some cake? Amy asks me. No, nothing, thanks, I say in a slightly high-pitched voice. I just sit there and watch them eat cake. My tummy starts rumbling, so I do a sort of humming noise to try and cover it up. Is that you humming? Amy asks me in between mouthfuls of cake. Yes, don't worry about me. My dad will be here soon. I hope he will be. Then I start humming a Dog Zombies tune. All the girls look at me again. It's one of the songs we play in the band. You know, the band I'm in, Dog Zombies, I explain. Yes, Tom, we know your band, Amy says. We're working on loads of new tunes. We're going to be the best band in the world. I tell them excitedly, try not to think about cake. How are you going to do that? Florence asks me. We're working on a plan. I'm hoping they won't ask me what our plan is, as I can't remember. What's the plan then? Indrani wonders. Maybe a good one. Florence adds, "Why did I say anything? I'm very happy when the doorbell rings. Ding dong. Oh, never mind. I'll have to tell you all about it another time. Phew." My dad's arrived and he's explaining to Amy's mum. She's called Brenda. I found out that Dad's been at the Leafy Green Old Folks Home, and his parents, Granny and Grandad, were visiting friends when the whole place had a power cut. So they called him and asked him to help out. Vera actually got stuck under the hairdryer, and they all had to have an emergency called lunch. Sounds dramatic. Well, the worst thing is I left my phone at home, so I missed the calls from the school and Rita. But I'm here now. Dad explains and he spots the chocolate cake. Looking at that cake, I'm sure Tom's been fine. Tom didn't want any. Did you, Tom? Amy tells him. Dad does a sort of cartoon double take and looks shocked, which is a bit over the top. Really? Tom didn't have any cake? Are you feeling all right? Dad, I sigh. I just want Dad to be quiet so we can leave, but he won't stop chatting. Now he's telling them all about our holiday, what we ate, the bad weather. I'm thinking, please don't mention bin liners, Dad, please. Tom's mum made him a rain cape out of a bin liner. It worked though, didn't it, Tom? No one's interested, Dad. We should go, I sigh. I am. You wore a bin liner? Did it work? Florence wants to know. What did it look like? And Granny adds, I saw it. It just looked like a bin liner. That was a cape. It had a hood and everything. I forgot Amy was there on the holiday. Great. I need to feed Marble now, really, I say, and get ready to go. What do you say, Tom? Dad says. Now, I add. Dad glares at me. Manners. Oh, thanks for having me. Sorry about the sandwich. I can't wait to go home. As we walk back, I have to tell Dad how I avoided the tuna sandwiches. You shouldn't be so fussy, Dad laughs. He seems to be in a good mood considering the power cut and everything. I'm not laughing about the cake though. Not eating cake must have been hard. It was tough. The first thing I do when I get home is check Marble's okay. Even with the noise of the storm, he's still fast asleep. It doesn't look like he's moved at all. I hope Marble isn't saving all his energy for night time. As Marble's not awake, I could try and do my mystery story homework. Mr. Fullerman would be very impressed if I brought it in. Trouble is, I can't think of anything to write about. Nothing comes to mind. Maybe I could write about Marble. Or I could do a doodle instead. I'm quite tired, so even if Marble does wake up, I'll probably just sleep through any of his noise. Or maybe not. Squeak, 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 biff, boff, squeak, 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 squeak. I'm so tired after another night of Marble's activity that I get confused and brush my teeth before breakfast. I don't want to tell Mum or Dad, and especially not Delia, that Marble's been keeping me awake, and is trickier to look after than I expected. I practice my I'm wide awake and not sleepy at all face. It's the best I can do. Morning, are you okay? Mum asks. Yes, thanks, I'm feeling great. Look how great I'm feeling. You look weird. Sit down, Delia says. How's Marble? Still in his cage, I hope? Dad asks me. Of course, he does all these funny things. I love it. Brilliant having a pet, making the most of it. He's not staying, Delia says. I take no notice of her and put some bread in the toaster. I thought I heard Marble's wheels squeaking last night, Dad tells me. I say nothing. It was very loud. I'm surprised it didn't wake you up, Tom, he adds. I didn't hear anything, I say as the toast pops up and I put some butter on it. Dad says he might take a look at it. Secretly, I'm very pleased. I carry on eating my toast. I rest my hand on my face and chew slowly. The movement makes my head go up and down and makes me feel a bit sleepy. Then Mum starts talking about family stuff, and that's when I really switch off. I only close my eyes for a few seconds and my face falls forward into my toast. Huh? It doesn't stop me eating it though. Delia looks at me and says, that's gross. Then she does a massive sneeze. No, that's gross. I repeat as she goes to get a tissue. I'm lucky Mum and Dad have missed my head slip because now They're talking about work stuff. Dad's excited because he's just got a new job. I'm doing the posters and album cover for Plastic Cup Reunion. I have lots of ideas already, and I'm meeting the band tonight, which should be interesting. That's one way of putting it, Mum laughs. All this talk of bands reminds me that we have to take a plan for Dog Zombies video. I'll have a chat with Norman and Derek today in school, because right now I'm imagining Dog Zombies are the best band in the whole world, with an endless supply of snacks given to us at every gig and band practice. Like this. I'm so busy thinking about our band that when Dad offers me a lift to school, I don't hear him at first. Tom, would you like a lift to school? This morning, you'll be quite early as I have to leave now though. It sounds like a good idea, especially as I'm a bit tired and it would be nice to sit in the car. But then I remember the shake and wait kids. I don't want to bump into them again. I'm fine, Dad, I'll walk with Derek, I tell him. It's for the best. Not walking on the pavement crack slows us down on the way to school, so much that Norman catches up and joins us. We have loads of time to chat about our Dog Zombies video. Let's use my dad's camera phone, I suggest. We should make it brilliant, Norman adds. That's sorted then. Over the next few days we talk about our music video. Plan a lot. There are loads of important things to discuss. What song should we do? All of them. Dog Zombies Rule? Cat Song? Deciding what to wear? Shades? I guess who I am. I'm Delia. Get lost. We should all wear shades. You look grumpy. Another day. Still deciding. Cat Song? School Dinner Blues? What song? Look, push-ups. Hello. Good view up here. When should we do it? Eventually we decide to film our video at my house at the weekend. On my dad's phone and sing our new song, Dog Zombies Rule, and wear shades. It all starts well. Then I put Dad's phone down, and it all goes wrong. Where's Dad's phone? The video didn't turn out exactly as we wanted. To be continued. Meanwhile, Sunday lunch with the cousins. I honestly thought things couldn't get any worse after trying to make our music video. I managed to get some sleep before Marble really goes for it on his wheel, which starts squeaking again. To block out the light, I put on Delia's sunglasses and wear a woolly hat with that muffles the sound. It works for a bit, but it isn't very comfortable. Biff, boff, biff, boff, biff. So I decide I might as well get up early again. We go into the cousins for lunch today, which I'm not entirely looking forward to. As soon as I'm awake, sort of, Marble goes off to sleep. I get dressed and go downstairs. Dad's already up and Mum's there too. Dad picks up his keys to go out and straight away she says, "Why are you off to so early, Frank?" Dad holds up his phone. "It had an accident. I'm going to try and get it fixed." I keep quiet. "Don't forget we're going for lunch. Please don't be late. We need to make an effort," Mum tells him. Eating Kevin's roast potatoes is always an effort. Dad laughs while pretending to bite on something tough. Mum doesn't laugh, but I still think it's funny. Then Delia comes down and she's on her way out too. "Where you going?" Mum wants to know. "To meet Avril." "You haven't forgotten about Sunday lunch, have you?" Mum asks. "What Sunday lunch?" Delia says. "I told you about it ages ago," Mum says, panicking. "I'm joking, chill. I'll meet you there." Mum hates being told to chill, so Delia says it a lot. "Don't be late," Mum tells her as she leaves. As I'm eating breakfast, I'm thinking it would be good to go over to Derek's and work out another video plan. I get up and ask Mum, "Can I go to Derek's?" "What for?" Mum wants to know. "We have a very important Dog Zombie stuff to chat about," I explain. "Okay, I'll come and get you at midday. No snacking. Remember we're having lunch," Mum reminds me, as if I'd forgot. I couldn't have picked a better time to arrive. "Tom, we're having pancakes. Do you want some?" Derek asks me. "What do you think?" Working on a new Dog Zombies video kind of is put to one side as there's pancakes to be eaten. Mr. and Mrs. Fingal made a ton of them too. I can hardly wait. They even got chocolate sauce. Mr. Fingal says, "I hope you're hungry, Tom." "Yes, I am." I helped myself to 3 massive pancakes and they're delicious. As we're all tucking in, Mr. Fingal tells us how the plastic cut reunion is going. Not well, I'm afraid. There's been some musical differences, but I'm still looking forward to their first gig, Derek says. We always agree on songs, don't we? I nod as my mouth is full. I heard Rooster wasn't very helpful with your music video, Mr. Fingal says. You can say that again, Derek says. Rooster is in the garden, safely away from the pancakes. Dad's getting his phone fixed so we can try again, I suggest between mouthfuls. Great, Derek says, and we both add more chocolate sauce. I've eaten so many pancakes I have to undo the top button on my trousers. Then Derek asks if I want to try the toffee sauce. I love toffee sauce, I say, and I pour some over a bit of pancake and finish it all up. I'm stuffed, I tell Derek. Me too. Let's go and lie on the sofa, he suggests. It's a good idea. Glancing up at the clock, I realise it's nearly midday, and Mum said she was coming to collect me then. We haven't had the chance to talk about our video, but the pancakes were ace. Mum arrives on time, so I ease off the sofa and tell Derek, don't mention the pancakes. Okay. Mrs. Fingal and Mum are chatting by the door when she asks, are you doing anything nice later? Not really, no, I say. That's not true, Tom. We're having a big Sunday lunch with the family. Gosh, I hope you're still hungry, Mrs. Fingal laughs. Always, I say, hoping Mum didn't notice that. I wave bye to Derek and say, thank you for having me, and all the other stuff too. I'm careful not to mention the pancakes. Mum tells me to get straight in the car. Did you have anything to eat, Tom? She wants to know. Not really, I say without going into too much detail. You've got chocolate sauce on your face, she says, and she passes me a tissue. I wipe it off quickly and undo another button to make my tummy feel more comfortable. It's a relief to sit down again. I'm so full. Where's Delia? Dad wants to know as he gets in the car. She's meeting us there, Mum tells him. Are you sure she'll turn up? No, Mum sighs, then adds, you know what Auntie Alice is like if people don't eat her food, Tom? You'd think she'd be used to that by now, Dad says, laughing. Please don't say anything like that when we're there, Frank. And Tom, you'd better not have eaten too many snacks at Derek's. I say nothing. All I want is a nice lunch with everyone getting on together as a family. How difficult can that be? Mum asks us. Very, Dad says. Aren't we supposed to be bringing something with us? He adds. I forgot the pudding! Why didn't you remind me? Mum shouts. I just did, Dad says, turning the car round to go home. All this speeding around isn't helping my stomach at all. I've run out of buttons to undo on my trousers. We pull up outside the house and Mum runs inside and back out again really fast. We'll be late now, and your brother will make a comment about us not being on time, she sighs. Probably, Dad agrees. Whenever we go to Uncle Kevin and Auntie Alice's house, Mum and Dad always have a discussion about things we're not meant to talk about. Today is no different. Don't mention the holiday and staying in the wrong villa, will you? Mum says. Or about climbing in through the window, Tom, Dad adds. He swerves round a corner. Frank, slow down, Mum tells Dad, but it's too late. There's a big blob of mousse on her lap now. Mum's not happy. Great. Do you want to go back home and get changed? Dad asks, trying to be helpful. No, just try not to start so much, Mum sighs. I could start and get some extra ice cream if you want. Yes, please, I say from the back, even though I am full. I always find room for ice cream. Let's just get there, shall we? Mum says. That's a no to the ice cream, then. You're here at last, Auntie Alice says as she opens the door. Yes, sorry we're late, Mum says. That's okay. Delia and her friend are here early. Delia's early? With Avril? Mum repeats. Not Avril again. Yes, luckily we will have plenty of food, Auntie Alice tells us. Not that I'm hungry. We all go inside and Mum explains the stain on her dress. Sorry about the pudding. Frank's driving didn't help. Driving's never been your strong point, has it, Frank? is the first thing that Uncle Kevin says. Lovely to see you too, Kevin. The apron suits you. Dad smiles and follows him into the kitchen. Uncle Kevin takes a pudding from Auntie Alice and puts it to one side. You really shouldn't have bothered, Rita. We have a delicious pudding already, he smiles. Well, I did, so there it is, Mum sighs. Then Uncle Kevin ruffles my hair, which is annoying, but I keep quiet. My cousins are watching, so I say, hi. I think they've grown taller since I last saw them. Or that's what it feels like standing next to them. The first thing they say to me is, Tom, come upstairs. We have something for you. My cousins like to play tricks on me, so the last thing I'm expecting to see is a big bowl of jelly beans. I'm still suspicious, though. Maybe they're all disgusting flavours, or they've licked them. Just in case, I say, yum, jelly beans, after you, and let them go first. The cousins take a big handful each and pop them in their mouths. So I'm guessing they're okay. I eat a few now and put the rest in my pocket for later. I've still got the buttons on my trousers undone, which feels a lot more comfortable. But the weight of all the jelly beans starts pulling them down. So I eat a few more just to be on the safe side. Mum spots me chewing. I hope you're not spoiling your appetite, Tom. No, I managed to say with my mouth full. Everyone heads down to the kitchen, where my dad asks the cousins, how's your band doing, lads? It's not our band anymore, it's Dad's band, really. Taking over things, that doesn't sound like your dad, he laughs. Uncle Kevin stops carving the chicken to say, hang on a second. That's not quite right. Let me explain. The cousins sigh. The boys dropped out of the band, so a few of the other parents and I thought it would be fun to keep it going. It's not like we're planning on doing any gigs, he laughs. But you said you wanted to play a gig, Dad, the cousins reminded him loudly. Did I? I don't remember saying that. Who'd come and listen to us playing anyway? I would, I say. Me too, Dad says, nudging me. They play rubbish songs, though, the cousins warn us, which sets off a big discussion about which songs they think are bad and which are good. If Auntie Alice hadn't stepped in to tell us that Granny and Grandad had arrived, it would still be going on. Auntie Alice tells us to go and help ourselves to lunch, which is excellent news for me because I'm not very hungry. It means I can do that thing of spreading my food out across my plate to make it look all nice and full. No one will guess I've already 2, 3, 4, some pancakes with lots of toffee and chocolate sauce. Granny and Grandad are explaining what happened to the leafy green old folks home after the power cut and why they're late. We took a dish of macaroni, cheese and grapes over as their ovens still aren't working properly thanks to the power cut. I drove through a lot of puddles, Granny adds. I made it for our dinner, but they need the food more than we do, Granny says. Lucky escape, the cousins whisper. Then Granny carries on chatting. Poor Viva's not happy at all. Her heated rollers are broken and her hair's gone as flat as a pancake. The word pancake reminds me of how full I still am. No one's noticed my spaced out food, so I shouldn't have to eat too much. Then Uncle Kevin only goes and says, you've hardly got anything to eat, Tom. Have some more chicken and roast potatoes. He put loads more on my plate. Mum doesn't think I've got enough green vegetables either, so she puts some on as well. I have no idea how I'm going to eat it all now. Delia and Avril come and sit down. They've only got vegetables on their plates. They could have had mine. Would you like some chicken to go with that? Uncle Kevin asks them. No thanks, we're both vegetarian. Since when have you been vegetarian? Mum wonders, looking surprised. Since this morning, but we've been thinking about it for a long time, Delia adds when Avril agrees by nodding. With everyone sitting round the table, Uncle Kevin taps a spoon on the side of his glass. Before we start, I'd like to say a few words. How few? We're all hungry, Dad says. Not everyone is. Uncle Kevin ignores the comment and carries on with his speech. He thanks everyone for coming and says how delicious everything looks. While all this chat is going on, I loosen my trousers a tiny bit more to make room for lunch. But then Uncle Kevin says, let's raise our glasses to family and go friends too, Avril. Everyone stands up to clink their glasses, but as I get up, my trousers start falling down. If the cousins hadn't started shouting, Tom's trousers, no one would have noticed. I have to dive under the table and pretend I've dropped a fork. Mum asks if I'm okay. Fine, just dropped a fork, I say, doing a few buttons. The cousins are still laughing when I sit back down. Do you need a clean fork, Tom? Auntie Alice asks me. Can one of you get a fork, please? She says to the cousins. It takes two of them to bring me a tiny baby fork. That's all we could find, they say. I'm not entirely convinced, but eating lunch with it will take even longer, which suits me fine. While I'm trying to scoop up one pea at a time, I listen to the conversation Uncle Kevin is having with Delia and Avril. I could have told him not to bother. So Avril, what are you up to at the moment? Eating. I mean, are you studying? Yes. Are you studying anything interesting? Sometimes. Do you have a favourite subject? No. And so it goes on. Ha ha! The cousins are asking Delia questions too, which I have to admit she's quite good at answering. Why do you wear sunglasses all the time, Delia? So I don't have to look at kids like you too closely. What's your favourite colour? Pink. Really? What do you think? No. You two don't miss a thing. Other subjects that get mentioned over the rest of Sunday lunch are favourite bands? Do 3, obviously. Do 3 and Nirvana. Ooh, I like them. Really? Bands from the old days? Good guitarists? You can't beat a bit of status quo? Yes, you can. The Beatles. Overrated. Who likes the Beatles? Me! Dad was getting a bit angry then. Plastic Cup. Together, getting back together. I'm doing the posters for their next album. We know, Frank. Music videos? I like Thriller. Well, that's Delia's favourite. The misheard lyrics chat gives me the chance to tell everyone about the song I sang in assembly. Instead of Let's Stand Up and Proudly Sing, I changed it to Let's Stand Up for Doodling. Cousins laugh. Mum doesn't. I didn't get into any trouble at all. Grandad goes back to talking about music videos. Or, as he calls them, pop videos. I'd like to be in one of those. I could play the spoons. Then he does a demonstration of his spoon skills, which is very impressive. Delia tells him he could be in a video if he wants. There are loads of videos of old people recording their own versions of famous songs online, which is news to me. Granny sounds interested. What fun! The cousins tell us about one they've already seen. The old folks dress up and sing the Beastie Boys, Fight for Your Right to Party, and they're all about 150 years old. Younger than us then, Grandad says, winking at Granny. A slight exaggeration, Uncle Kevin points out. There's hope for all of us, Dad laughs. Granny seems very keen on this idea, but not as keen as Grandad. We should make our own pop video! What a good idea! There's new residents at the Leafy Green home who has a very good singing voice. Apparently, he used to be a big country and western star in his day. What's the new resident's name? Mum wonders. He doesn't talk very much, but I think he's called Tony. His band was Teacup Tony and the Saucers. I've heard them. That's a great name for a band, isn't it? Dad says. Like Dog Zombies. We made a video for our band, I add enthusiastically. How exciting. Can I see it? Granny asks. No, it got ruined. We have to make a new one now, if Dad lets me. Only if you keep Rooster away, Dad says. What happened? Granny asks. So I tell everyone about my music video disaster and make a spectacular sign for the start of the video. Dog Zombies Rule. The song's called Dog Zombies Rule, by the way. Dog Zombies video, the making of. After school, me, Derek and Norman finally get together to make a new video for the song Dog Zombies Rule. Dad lets us use his phone to film it on. Look after it, won't you? He told me. Of course I will, I said. Rooster jumped over the fence to join us. We let him stay because we thought it was a good idea to have him appear in the video as he's a dog, and we're called Dog Zombies. Then we worked out where to stand, which took a while, and decided the garden was the best place to film. After practicing some excellent rock star poses, we were ready to start. We took turns filming each other and singing, playing our song. Balancing the phone on the wall meant we could be in the same shot together while we sung the chorus of Dog Zombies Rule. Rooster got very excited and kept running in and out all of our video, but we still managed to get it all filmed. After taking one last photo, I put the phone down while we did a high five to celebrate, and that's when Rooster decided to do some filming of his own. He grabbed the phone in his mouth and ran off. Derek shouted, "Rooster, drop that phone. Drop it right now." Being a good dog, he did. Right into a watering can full of rainwater and other mucky sludge too. The phone sank to the bottom, which wasn't part of our video plan. We took the phone out, but it wouldn't even turn on. The whole video was gone and all that work for nothing. It was a disaster. Dad wasn't very pleased either. We still want to make another video, but this time Rooster won't be in it. Dad says, "To be fair, Tom, it was a complete disaster. I took the phone to be fixed this morning, and they gave me a new one instead. I got an upgrade too. Look." Dad seems quite pleased with his fancy new phone, so that's something. Then Granny makes a suggestion. "We're having a fundraising bingo tonight to raise money for some of the electrical things that need replacing at Leafy Green. Your band could come and play if you want, Tom." "How about Kevin's new band? This could be their first gig." Mum suddenly suggests, which is a much better idea. The cousin starts cheering. Uncle Kevin's not sure. "Calm down, everyone. You might raise more money for them not to play," Dad jokes. "Actually, we're quite good, but we still don't have a proper name yet," Uncle Kevin tells us. Immediately, we start thinking of band names for him. Even Avril joins in. The Wrinklies, the Midlife Crisis Crew, the Sell-By Dates, the Overripes, the Not Bad Band, the It Was Our Band But Not Anymore. You lot are hilarious. I'm not sure he's going to use any of our suggestions. Granny Mavis asks if anyone could help out and be the bingo caller. "Frank'll do it, won't you?" Mum says before Dad can answer. He says, "I'd love to," like he has a choice now. The good thing about all the chatter is it's helped me avoid eating my lunch. I've nibbled a bit, but most of it is still there. I'm trying to work out what to do when I spot the window open behind me, which gets me thinking. I could lean over and drop some of the food out of the window. It's worth a try. I'll just have to wait for the right moment to do it, especially as my cousins seem to spot everything with their eagle eyes. That moment arrives sooner than I expect. Grandad bites down into his very crispy roast potato, which makes his teeth spring out of his mouth and land on Avril's plate. At first she doesn't notice. It's when Avril puts down her glass that she gets a big surprise. The cousins start laughing and do silly voices saying, "Hello Avril, hello Avril," like the teeth are speaking to her. For someone who doesn't say much, Avril can scream really loudly. Auntie Alice tries to cover the teeth up by throwing a napkin on the plate, only she misses completely and it goes right into Uncle Kevin's face. Which all this is going, I grab a handful of food and lean back casually towards the open window. Then I drop it out as fast as I can. I have enough time for a few more handfuls before everything calms down. Throwy about that, Grandad. Throwy about that, Grandad says as he picks up his teeth. Delia has taken Avril to the kitchen. She comes back in to tell us Avril's been traumatised by teeth, so we're both going home. Auntie Alice offers to give Delia and Avril some pudding to take with them, which is not really deserved if you ask me. I'm not worried what happens now because I've an empty plate, nearly, which is a result. I'm almost tempted to have some pudding myself. I've got a tiny bit of room. Mum and Dad take the plates into the kitchen, including mine, when Uncle Kevin brings in a fancy cake with fruit and all sorts of things and some ice cream too. Mum adds her chocolate mousse to the table as well. Nearly forgot, Uncle Kevin says. He didn't. Mum says it's a shame Delia and Avril have left. More pudding for us, Dad laughs, and Mum gives him a look. As Auntie Alice starts to dish out the cake, Mum looks up and says, I didn't know you had cats, Auntie Alice says. We don't. What was that cat doing on the window then? Mum asks. Uncle Kevin tries to shoo it away, and then leans out of the window to check if it's gone. There are cats everywhere, he says, and not in a good way. The cousins make everything worse by shouting, cats, 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 Tom, cats, let's go, like they've never seen a cat before. Then they rush outside and drag me with them. I'm hoping by the time we get there the cats will all be gone, but they're not. And there's food, my food, everywhere. I tried to get rid of some of the evidence by kicking it into the bushes, but I just make it look worse. It's a crime scene. And I've been caught red-handed. Everyone is staring at me and wondering what's going on. I did my best to look baffled. Here's my "How did this happen?" face. I keep saying I wonder what happened, and I shake my head in the hope that no one will suspect that it was me. Not really. Uncle Kevin asks us all to go back to the house while Auntie Alice keeps trying to shoo the cats away, which would be a lot easier to do if the cousins weren't stroking and feeding them. I leave them to do it and not decide to stay in the background and not make a fuss. I'm hoping that no one will put two and two together and work out how the food got outside. After everything that's gone on, I decide not to have any pudding. It's for the best. Mum's wobbly chocolate mousse. The fossils say we're all invited to the Leafy Green fundraising event. I'd love a copy of your new song, Tom, Granny Mavis tells me. I sought that one on my new phone. I've still got a recording of the music, Dad says, which is something. No one says anything more about the cats, so I start to wonder if maybe I might have got away with dropping my food out of the window after all. I keep on thinking that right up until the car journey home. So, Tom, why did you throw your food out of the window? Dad asked me. What, me? I do a lot of ing, but I can't think of a good excuse, so I told them about the pancakes at Derek's. You had 4 pancakes, Mum says, surprised, and 2 sauces. They were delicious. Surprisingly, Mum and Dad don't seem that angry about it, but Mum says I have to write a sorry note. Do I have to? Yes. Yes. It could be worse, I suppose. When we get home, Mum gives me some paper to write my sorry note. Do it after you've looked after Marble, she reminds me. I have a lot of things to get done now. I take all the paper upstairs, then clean out Marble's cage, making sure he doesn't run off. So far, he's hardly moved at all. With Marble back asleep after a quick read of my comics and a rock weekly, I start to make my sorry card. What should I say? First I draw a monster saying sorry. I'm not sure that it will be enough. Sorry, so I add a cat. Sorry, and another holding a chicken leg. Maybe not. I have another think and write this instead. Dear Auntie Alice and Uncle Kevin, I didn't think it was possible to like a lunch as much as I did. Your food was delicious. It tasted really yummy. I was sad I couldn't eat it all. I really tried. I was full. Love, Tom. P.S. The cats loved the chicken. Sorry again. Then I have the extra idea to add a very special paper chain to the envelope. Nothing says I'm sorry like a paper chain monster. I have lots of spare sheets to use, so I grab some and start cutting them in to the right shape to draw on. My table's a bit messy, but once it's done I pop it into the envelope with my notes. Mum's already written their address on the envelope and put a stamp on it, so I stick it down and give it back to her. She looks very pleased with me. I even clean my desk and throw away all the scraps of paper too. I am officially the best child in the whole family, which isn't hard, I don't think. And when I get ready for bed, I discover some jelly beans in my pocket from earlier. Hooray! Which is a bonus and puts me in a really good mood. I don't mind that I'm going to bed a bit early either. I'll just get more sleep, which will be very nice. Squeak, squeak, biff, boff, biff. Or maybe not. Boff, biff, boff, biff, boff. Mark's coming to pick Marble up tomorrow. Phew. I was hoping that the power cut would stop me from going to school for a bit. No such luck. School's open again, Tom. No day off for you, Tom, Dad tells me. Here's my I'm tired and not looking forward to lessons face. Groan. When I go and call for Derek, he looks at me and says, "Whoa, you look sleepy." Is that better? I ask. Kind of, Derek says, not really convinced. I do my best to perk up as I tell him that Mark's coming to pick up Marble today. I'll miss him, but I miss sleeping more. True. At school, everything seems like it's back to normal until Derek points out a sign hanging up. That came around quickly, he sighs. Today turns out to be the first time we're doing shake and wake. Let's go to our bench for a rest. We might need it, I suggest. As soon as we sit down, the kids from 2D come over and join us. Don't worry, we're moving, I say before they ask us, but it's not long before the rest of the school and the teachers gather around as well. Are you ready for shake and wake? Mr. Keene tells us all. Not really. The music starts blaring out of the new speakers, and the kids from 2D leap up into action. There's no way out of this. I just have to join in like everyone else. Here goes. Shake your arms. Up in the air. Did you enjoy that? Mr. Keene asks us at the end. Most of the school say yes. I'm too puffed out to speak. He says thank you to class 2D kids, and we give them a round of applause. They all set the bar very high. Next week we'll have a different class to teach us a new shake and wake. Mr. Keene is very enthusiastic. Brilliant, I say to Derek, who looks surprised. I'm joking, I tell him. All I want to do now is go and sit down and relax. I'm glad shake and wake is all finished. It could have been worse, I suppose, and the most awkward part of the day is over. Tom, do you have your mystery homework for me? It's the first thing Mr. Fullerman asks. I spoke too soon. He gives me the morning to do it in class. At least I'm not the only one writing their story. Brad Galloway and Amber are doing it too. The trouble is I can't think of anything to write about. My mind has gone blank. Then Marcus does that stupid snake thing, so I write this. It's a Mystery by Tom Gates. When a big strange blob appeared in the park, it was a mystery what it was. It just sat there, doing nothing. All the children were told not to go near it in case it was dangerous. But there was one boy called Sukram who thought he knew best and took no notice at all. He decided it would be fun to annoy the blob by poking it with a stick. Then he wobbled it with his hand and did stupid snake arm at it too. See, this blob is not dangerous at all. It's just a blob that does nothing, Sukram shouted and hissed at it. Sukram was a very annoying boy. The blob suddenly started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then it opened its mouth. It was a complete mystery whatever happened to Sukram. It wasn't. The blob went back to having a quiet life and didn't bother anyone else at all. The end. Mr. Fullerman likes my story. Well done, Tom. I'm not sure I'd like to meet that blob at the park. See what you can do when you concentrate. After school, Derek and Norman are coming back to mine for a couple of reasons. 1, to say bye to Marble as Mark is collecting him tonight. 2, to make plans for another music video. Both are very important. All the way home, Norman is reenacting the shake and wake dance. He's doing a lot more shaking than I remember though. It's our class's turn next week, he tells us. Count me out, I say straight away. Like you'll have a choice, Derek reminds me. No, but I could have a bad leg, I pointed out, pretending to limp. It's my backup plan. I practice limping all the way home, just in case. The first thing we do at my house is go and check on Marble, who's asleep. I get all his stuff together so he's ready for when Mark picks him up. That's what he does all day, I tell Norman and Derek. Not much else. He gets lively at night though. When Mark arrives to collect him, he's still asleep. How was Marble? Mark wants to know. He was brilliant. I loved having a pet. It was the best, I say, really loudly. Because I know Mum is listening. I don't mention the noise or sleepless nights, of course. I wave bye to Marble, but he doesn't move as he's still asleep, as usual. After Mark goes, the three of us start chatting about dog zombies and what we're going to do for another video. Keep Rooster away for a start, Dad laughs. We can use my dad's new phone, I suggest. I'm sure he won't mind. He might, but I'll work that out later. Then we do a quick practice of dog zombies rule. As we're congratulating ourselves, Mum suddenly shouts from downstairs, Tom Gates, we need to talk, which doesn't sound very good. I can hear her coming upstairs. I haven't done anything, I tell Norman and Derek. When Mum comes in, she looks really cross. I'm sorry, boys, but you'll have to go home. I need to talk to Tom. Okay, see you at school, Norman says, and Derek gives me a look as they both leave. I have no idea what's going on or why I'm in trouble. Then Mum says, so when I asked you to send your auntie and uncle a note saying sorry, which part of that did you not understand? All of it. I mean, none of it. Well, they weren't that happy to get this from you, Tom. Honestly, what were you thinking? Mum shows me a note that's signed by me. Dear Auntie Alice, I didn't like your food. It tasted sad. Sorry. Love, Tom. Where's the rest of it? That's only half my note. Mum isn't in the mood to listen to me and says, I'll have to send a proper note, but this time I'll be reading it before you post it to them. But I said nice things. Early to bed for you tonight, I think. Mum doesn't let me explain, which is very annoying, as the other part of the note must be around somewhere. I'm trying to think of what could have happened to the note. The only good thing about me being sent to bed early is now Marble's not here. I'll get a whole night's sleep. But the bad thing about not having Marble is Delia comes in to bother me. I hear you're in trouble. Go away, Delia, I say. So you don't want this pizza? She won't give me any pizza unless I show her my note. We do a swap and she thinks it's hilarious. It's only half the note, I try to explain. Don't worry, Tom. It's funny, she tells me, almost being nice. I get ready for bed and keep wondering what happened to that note. It takes me a while to go to sleep because I'm thinking it too much. Eventually, I drift off. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Not again. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. The first thing I'm going to do is hide my cuckoo clock. Or put it in Dad's shed. Cuckoo, cuckoo. I drag myself out of bed and go downstairs for breakfast. Dad is busy showing Mum the finished plastic cup posters he's done for their reunion. I have no idea if they'll like it or not, Dad says. They look great. You might even get to work on that next album if this one sells, she suggests. Don't count on it. I've heard the band aren't getting on too well. It could be a short reunion. What's that on the cover? I ask him. It's a spatula. The songs are all about kitchen items. It's a very plastic cup. Dad explains. They like to be different. Plastic cup. The reunion. Talking of people being different. I thought they'd forgotten about my card. That card, Tom, will never hear the end of it. Your uncle will bring it up all the time. I can explain, I say. Not now. Dad has to go and doesn't have time to listen. I have to I have to find the other part of my note. It's the only way to clear my name and show I'm innocent. Of the card bit, not the chicken food out the window. I did do that. Derek is waiting for me and wants to know what happened last night, so I tell him. That's funny, but annoying as well. Then he takes me to the shop on the way to school to cheer me up, which works. Fruit chew? Thanks, Derek. While we're unwrapping our sweets, something very strange starts to happen. A couple of kids come over and ask us a question. Hey, I recognise you two. Are you in a band called Dog Zombies? We are, with Norman. Why do you want to know? Told you it was them, the boy says to his friend. Derek and I look at each other. That's weird. I wonder how they know our band, I say. Then, as we keep walking to school, someone else comes over and taps me on the back. Are you in Dog Zombies? Yes. But why? You're famous, the girl laughs and runs off singing our song. Is that our song? Derek asks me. I think it is, Norman says, running over to join us. He says that's our song. How does that girl know our song? It was a very good question. We hadn't even played it to anyone yet. The Dog Zombies rule video didn't exactly work out, so it's odd those kids know about the band too. The three of us are so busy chatting about what's happened that we're all late for class. Sorry. Mr. Fullerman takes 2 points off the chart, one for me and one for Norman. You two are late. Don't let it happen again. Don't let it happen again, he says as we go and sit down. I sit down between Marcus and Amy, and straight away Marcus is humming a tune. It sounds like Dog Zombies rule. I don't say anything at first, but he keeps on humming. Eventually I say, that's our song. I know, Marcus tells me. I heard some kids singing that this morning. It's a good song, Amy tells me as well. Really? Thanks, but I'm still wondering, how do they know the Dog Zombies song? It's a mystery, but I'm glad Amy likes it. Marcus keeps humming, loudly enough that I can hear. Okay, Marcus, how do you know our song and where did you... Before I can finish, Mr. Fullerman interrupts. Class 5F, today we'll be doing maths and some extra spellings for our test. So we have a lot to do. But after Shake and Wake, you'll all be feeling fantastic. Here's my I'm delighted about maths and spelling face. Joy. Marcus won't say where we heard our song. I have to get on with my work, he whispers. I'll tell you later. I try not to let him annoy me, but it's hard. Learning the new words for the spelling test isn't easy either. One of the words is moustache. Sometimes drawing a picture helps me to remember how to spell a word. This is the one that comes to mind. Then I draw a few other ideas too. It doesn't help with the spelling. It's just funny. Time really drags when you're not having fun, so I'm looking forward to lunch. But while I'm standing in the hot meal queue, it happens again. A girl asks me, "You're in Dog Zombies, aren't you?" "We've seen your video," another kid says. "What video? We haven't done one," I tell them. I'm so confused. Maybe there's another band called Dog Zombies. All the old people are singing your song on that funny video website. That's not us, it must be another band. What's going on? It's one of the dinner staff who tells me more about this video. Tom, it's so funny. There are lots of old folks and they're all amazing at singing and playing, and you're in it too. I am. They show some lovely school photos of you and pictures of your band. They're very proud, I think. I take my food and go and sit down. I think I know what's happened, I tell Derek. Then Marcus Meldrew finally decides to tell us where he saw the video. It's on the funny video website. It's all gone spiral. You mean viral? I tell him. Whatever, it's funny. How did they get our song? Derek wants to know. That'll be me giving a copy to Dad, who gave it to Granny Mavis. What have they done with it? I wonder out loud. I'll tell you, Marcus says. I can't shut him up now. He goes on about the whole video, including a bit where Grandad Bob plays the spoons, and there's one old guy who plays a tiny guitar and a cup and saucer too. That sounds bonkers, I say. Maybe if this video's doing so well, we don't have to make a new video after all, Derek suggests. Loads of people have seen it, which is just what we wanted, he adds. He's got a good point. I start thinking that this could really be the start of something really big for dog zombies. Then Marcus says, the old people were good, but your band's still rubbish, and laughs. We'll see about that. I'm in a big hurry to get home. Derek and Norman come with me so we can all see what the fossils have been up to. The video can make our band really popular, I say. We already know that the old folks like it, agrees Norman. True. As soon as we walk through the door, I see Mum waiting for me with her arms folded, which is not a good sign. What have you been up to now, Tom? She asks. I've had a phone call from a newspaper about a video and your band. Nothing, it's Granny and Grandad who've been busy, I tell her. Dog zombies are famous, Norman cheers. We all do a high five. They said something about the leafy green old folks home too. What's that all about? Rather than spend ages explaining everything to Mum, we all go to watch the video for ourselves. Luckily, it's hilarious and not in a bad way. Dog Zombies Rule by Tom, Derek and Norman, featuring the residents of the leafy green old folks home. Dog Zombies Rule for now. School in the morning and there's no one around. It's so early that you can't hear a sound. Sitting on a bench with nothing to prove. Dog zombies are here and we're not gonna move. We're in a band to make you sing. We've done a lot of practicing. We get together after school because we know dog zombies rule. 1 week later. There's some good news, some not so good news, and some really good news. Here's the not so good news, which isn't that bad. Dog Zombies becoming the biggest band in the whole wide world might take longer than we expected. The newspaper was only a little bit interested in our band. It was Teacup Tony they really wanted to talk to. Someone spotted him playing the ukulele in the video, and it turns out he really was a huge country and western star. The video was so popular that he reunited with his band and played Granny Mavis's fundraising event for the Leafy Green Old Folks Home. It was a massive success and they raised loads of money to fix all the stuff that got broken in the power cut. Teacup Tony and the Saucers music got played everywhere. Loads more people bought their song, Don't Leave Your Biscuit in the Tea Too Long, and it shot up the charts to #1 all over again. Dad still did his bingo calling at that event and said he'd been practicing a lot. And Dog Zombies, that's us, played our song Dog Zombies Rule as well. Everyone joined in, including Grandad Bob on the spoons and Teacup Tony and the saucers, who were impressive. Vera said the whole event was worth doing. Her hair for result. Derek's dad, Mr. Fingal, is very happy as well. He's found an original copy of their single, Don't Leave Your Biscuit in Your Tea Too Long, which he says is a classic and might be worth some money too. Derek told me that the really good news is I don't have to write another sorry card to Auntie Alice and Uncle Kevin, because Dad found the missing half of the first one I made. He was looking for the newspaper that had a review of the Plastic Cut reunion gig. Apparently it didn't go too well. Dad found the other half of my card scrunched up in the waste paper bin, along with some of the monsters I made. Sorry note. Dad said he was sorry I got told off. I suggested that getting my own pet might be a really nice way of saying sorry. It didn't work. Instead, when I came back from school, Mum left me a note along with a few treats, which was a result. I ate 2 wafers and kept 1 for later. Then I left 3 empty wafer wrappers on the plate for someone else to get fooled by. Delia. Dog Zombies Rule. Me and Derek are walking to school and we're still trying to think of a new way to make Dog Zombies the best band ever. I could ask Grandad Bob to teach me the spoons, I suggest. I've got some more ideas for songs, Derek tells me, which is probably a better idea. We get to school nice and early as neither of us can be late to class again. Don't be late. Surprisingly, there were a few kids in the school grounds already. I suggest we go and sit on our bench, but when we start walking towards it, Amy Florence and Brad Galloway get there before us. Morning, Tom and Derek. Amy says, hello, we say and sit down. Have you forgotten then? She adds. I don't know what Amy's talking about. But I still say, of course not. Derek looks at me and raises his eyebrows. You've forgotten, haven't you? Florence says, it's our class turn to do Shake and Wake. Brad Galloway tells us both, don't worry, we'll sit somewhere else, I tell them all. Derek and I get up to move. I don't want to be part of another dance, even if it is Amy. Florence and Brad doing it. You don't have to leave. You can be the first to learn it. You're good at Shake and Wake, Tom. Amy laughs. Not really, I'm fine, thanks, I tell her. You're both in for a surprise, Brad says. What kind of surprise, Derek asks. You'll see, Florence says. It's really fun, Brad tells us both. Have you got chocolate? I ask them all. That's my favourite surprise. No, bad luck, Tom. You'll like it, I promise. Amy tries to assure me. Then they get ready to do their Shake and Wake. Derek and I shuffle away from the front as more kids start arriving. Then the teachers turn up and Mr. Keene does his speech again. About how good this is going to be. I really don't feel like doing a crazy routine today, Derek says. Me neither. I'm going to do a little jumping around as possible, I tell Derek. Then the music starts coming out of the speakers, and I change my mind. They're playing Dog Zombies Rule. Here's my actually enjoying Shake and Wake after all face. Watching the whole school dance to our song is actually quite funny. If Dog Zombies are going to try and be the best band in the world, this is a good start. Dog Zombies Rule! My group came last, but I'm not that bothered after hearing what the prize was. Well done, Group 2, who came top of the It's Not Great to Be Late chart. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that audiobook. See ya. Peace.